everyone, my name will be Josh, this is StrainCentral, and today we are going to be doing the third annual unboxing for the StrainCentral Hemper collab. So I am so fucking stoked that they actually came out and showed out again for the third year in a row. And this one's actually called the second edition IVXX Express Kit. So when it comes to Hemper, I've honestly been working with Hemper since I want to say 2015, 2016-ish. And 2017 was actually the first year that I was able to do a box with them. So April 2017, April 2018, April 2019, we did pineapple boxes. The first one was subtly pineapple themed, and I feel like every year they're just getting more and more and more pineapple themed. So next year you're probably actually just gonna get a actual pineapple in a box. We're just gonna send you a fucking pineapple. But before we actually get into unboxing this and showing you all the goodies from this box, I'm gonna hit last year's piece. So this is the Pineapple V1 rig, I guess is what we'll call it. And the idea behind this is it's pretty basic. It's a 4-hold pancake perk, and then the pineapple in the actual bong is just the splash guard. So it's a super functional splash guard, and it kind of resembles a pineapple. I'll make sure to throw it up close in this. But if we're being 1,000,000% honest, especially comparing it to this year's box, it kind of looks like a lemon. Some of them look more like lemons than pineapples, and it definitely in my heart is always going to be a pineapple. But I've definitely also heard that some people say it looks a little bit more like a lemon. No hate, it's still an awesome functional piece, but cheers. Try to get low, 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 low. That was a mad low temp dab. Alright, so I guess that's just a little taste. We'll start off with a little taste. I guess we don't want to be too high when we're actually getting into the main course here. So let us get into this beast. I honestly love first off, I'll start with the box. I love the outside, so it's very, very, very similar to last year's. Poof! I'm not out of breath from running all the way across my apartment. That was magic, I swear. So, the other box basically looks the exact same. This one is a matte finish, whereas this one's a little bit more glossy, and then you can read this one actually says StrainCentral, whereas this one says IVXX Hemper. So, the boxes look very similar, but I personally actually do enjoy this one a little bit more. I guess I'm not a super arrogant person, so I don't want StrainCentral plastered all over the front. I like their subtle credit where credit's due, but Hemper takes the credit because they're the ones who actually killed this box. I just helped choose the shit that goes inside. But let's actually get to opening it. Whew, shit. Almost just literally through the box. I'm not excited. So we get our wrapping paper, just in case we want to use this as gift wrap. If you're a frugal person, save that, set that aside, use that for Christmas presents this year. And the next thing we're setting aside is the glass piece. So that's always last, but as you can see, it's actually a pretty fucking big rig this year. Right off the bat, a little bit bigger than last year's, but shh, we didn't see that. That was a sneak peek, glass sneak peek. All right, so the first thing that we do have, my cats love these little rubber bands. All the time, I'll find my cats just slapping these little rubber bands around. Be careful though if you're a cat owner, because if you have a cat with pica and they like to eat shit that's not cat food, they can swallow those and get wrapped around their intestines. So I try to pick them up when I find them. Just saying, cats love those rubber bands though, because they look like little buggies. Maui's literally staring at this right now. I'm pretty sure he's gonna get up and attack it. Alrighty guys, so the first thing we do actually have in the box after all those cat rambles is this pineapple carb cap. So not only is it a carb cap on this side with a obviously dabber attached, but the carb cap is directional. So there's a hole in the top and then there's a hole in the bottom, which means if you're on basically any kind of banger is mostly what these are good for. You can kind of negate the airflow and get a directional hit. So not only is it stylish, not only does it look really cool, and as you can see compared to the last year's piece, this one actually looks a lot more like a pineapple. It's not questionably lemon, questionably pineapple. Like, this is for sure pineapple. So they definitely stepped it up in quality, and that's like my number one A+. Alrighty, so the next thing I got in the box is some honey citrus hemp wraps. These are twisted hemp wraps. So I believe there is 5 different flavors of these. There's like a mango, there's these honey ones, there is an apple, there's I think a berry, and there's one more that I can't think of off the top of my head. But I also did hear that if you don't get the hemp wraps in your box, you're going to be getting hemp wick, because that's kind of the way we went, as I would use kind of either or depending on the day. Sometimes I'm feeling like rolling up a hemp wrap, but most of the time I'm going to go with the hemp wick. So if you don't have wraps in your box, you probably got hemp wick, but either or, that's a good choice in my opinion. And I know there's this like weird apprehension from some people for using hemp wraps compared to like backwoods, or if you're a Swisher fan, try the twisted hemp wraps. Just trust me. If you actually get like a fresh pack of these, I would say any day, hands down, they go like neck and neck with like any woods, any actual Swisher. So the next thing we have in the box is something for the glass. So we got ourselves a banger. This is like kind of the most ridiculous part in my opinion, as normally you usually just get a bowl or you get a banger. You don't get a bowl and a banger. I actually think this is the first box that they've ever done this in. Honestly, in most head shops, any kind of banger like this, as it's pretty thick and it's a 14 mil male banger, this thing would probably run you like between $20 and $30, if not more, depending on the brand you're actually buying and the markups. So this itself is literally the price of the entire box you're getting, because these are only $29.99. I think on the actual shop, if you just want to buy the banger like on the Hemper shop, I still think these are like $19.99. So this is basically what the box itself costs, let alone everything else you're getting. So I know that when it comes to boxes, that's the main thing I'm always looking at. Like, I'm subscribed to like the cat box, the cat lady box. I'm not a lady, but it's cat shit. I have cats. I used to be subscribed to FabFitFun. Like, the main thing I'm looking for in any subscription box is quality. Am I actually getting what I'm paying for? Am I actually going to use the shit every month? And I feel like Hemper 99% of the time kills both of those, as they're smokers themselves. And like I've hung out with those guys, I've smoked with those guys, I've seshed with those guys, I've watched their operation grow from like 4 of them to over 30. And it's really cool to see them continue to maintain quality, and not only do that, but do more and expand, get better. And that's why I continue to keep working with them. Okay, so this next part it's so fucking rad, as these are ginormous bags. Like, you could easily fit an ounce into this thing, easily. Not 2, but motherfucking 3 of these things in one bag. So you get 3 poly bags that you could easily fit like 3 fucking OZs. You can sit here and catch felonies in illegal states with this box. That's not an endorsement. That you didn't hear me say that. They don't include the weed. This is just bags. This is Ziploc bagging, and you can use this for this is literally meant for turkeys and snacks. This is not meant for the illegal use or sale of marijuana or storage. This is for tobacco use only. So you couldn't catch any felony. Oh, and the most important part I just entirely failed to mention about these is that they are smell proof, and they're semi like waterproof, moisture proof. So I wouldn't say like seal them up and jump in a fucking river, but they're moisture proof and they're gonna keep your weed dry. I'll make that claim at the very least. We got a bag in a box. We got fucking packageception in this bitty. So it looks like this entire next little portion was nicely packaged for the smokers, and it came in its own little bag. So we got ourselves some perforated raw tips. I think there is either raw tips or element tips, both 50 packs. It comes with OCB Slims. I believe the other 2 brands it actually comes with is OCB Virgins, which are the actual like unbleached ones. And then I think you could possibly also get Element king size papers. They're all king size though. So OCB Slims, OCB Virgins, or the Elements Tell me what you got in the description if you copped a box. Nonetheless, king size papers, because that's really all I roll with. I roll probably like 4 times, 5 times a month, honestly. So if I'm rolling something up, it better be in something big. So I honestly get the question all the fucking time, like, Josh, how do you not get bored of smoking? You've been smoking for so long. Weed's getting boring to me. And I guess if it's not your hobby, if you're just like smoking to smoke, that would become like pretty boring at some point. But weed fascinates the fuck out of me. The fact that I can smoke the same thing every time in a slightly different variation or a different strain and get the same but entirely different effects and tastes because of terpenes and because of flavonoids and because of this wonderful plant that we don't even really know all about yet. So to that, I also would say consumption methods play into just not getting bored. It's not like I'm sitting there with a joint. Like, I very rarely actually smoke joints because it becomes a special thing when I do. So like, if I'm using any kind of flower, I'm most of the time hitting a bong. I use glass. Like, I have a huge ass glass collection, so I'm gonna use the glass. And honestly, I dab for the most part because it's the least odorless, and it's the easiest to like actually get to a point of nicely medicated or like well high. So I would say when it comes to joints, the reason I don't smoke them every day, the reason it's like a once or twice a week thing, or maybe like, I would say 4 times a month is pretty good. Like anytime I hang out with friends, is because it keeps it special, keeps it different, and it makes it a nice experience. So that's my rant on keeping it simple. I've been holding this in my hand the entire time, just kind of Billy Mays in this
wonderful Hemper ashtray here. Have you ever been sitting around your house and you haven't been able to find anything to ash into you? Have you ever ashed onto your cat on accident?
Shit, I'm getting Shane Dawson in this bitch. Cats aside. These are really handy. I always find that I'm in situations where I need to, it's always when I need an ashtray that there's none around. So if you live alone and you can, basically the go-to move is to just put one in every fucking room. And Hemper sends these probably like once every 2 or 3 months, so I'm almost to the point where I actually have one of these in every fucking room, and they're all different designs. So you're not gonna 100% get this Hemper one that's like the urban camo with the Hemper. There's like 8 different designs or something like that, which you might actually be getting. But I almost kind of like these more than the silicone ones or like the plastic ashtrays. I've had way too many bowlers catch on fire, and that's a fucking fire hazard and a half. So using something like tin or glass is usually the go-to for me. I stay away from plastic or like any polys really when it comes to that aspect of things. Fire and plastic should not go together. Alrighty, so I don't know how the fuck I like didn't actually take this out first, as this is one of the things for some reason I'm like the most stoked on other than the glass in the box. So you guys actually probably remember from last year the logo that, is on the front of this box. Got a bunch of stickers of it last year. I saw that shit literally like slapped everywhere. Someone out there has a tattoo of this logo on your leg. I don't remember your at, so please on either Twitter or in the comments or something, like show yourself, reveal yourself. But they actually threw in an air freshener, and this thing smells delicious. It's pina colada flavored. So the actual logo, like the pineapple skull, the skull apple, I don't really know what we even deemed this last year. Pineapple skull? Skull apple sounds cooler. That almost sounds like a knockoff Skull Candy brand though. I'm everywhere today. So I definitely want to actually see you guys sending me snaps and sending me Instagram stories and shit messages, DMs of you actually hanging these from the rear view. I'm not one that personally condones session in the car, mostly because it's just a really easy way to get yourself in trouble. If a cop rolls up to your window and you and your friends, even like 2 weeks ago, had like a huge session in your car, huge hotbox in your car, basically what's going to happen is the cop's going to, you might not even be high right now, or you might be like just slightly high, as your average user is not impaired. Like most of us smoke every day, and we're not so impaired that we can operate a vehicle. By law, they don't agree with us. Like, if a cop rolls up to your car and you had just smoked a couple of hours ago, so you're, not really high, plenty fine to drive, not impaired, but your car smells like weed, you just got yourself into a probable cause situation that you're probably going to get fucked for no reason. So don't put yourself in a situation you don't have to. Like, if you had just smoked a couple of hours ago and you didn't hotbox your car, the cop would roll up to your window, you'd talk back and forth, you'd go about your day, he would have no fucking clue you just consumed. Moral of the story is, I know some people are young and don't have, a house to smoke in, or they don't have like an actual garage or something to throw down on. There's not like the cool garage in the block. So if that's your situation, if you have to actually consume outside of your home or outside of like your friend's home or something, don't get in a car. That's just like my number one rule. And I see people hotbox all the time. I've been a part of hotboxes. I'm not against hotboxes. I've just never owned a vehicle. Like, I don't smoke cigarettes in the car. I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. But I've never smoked anything in my car simply because it just makes it smell like shit. And with weed, you're getting yourself into a probable cause situation that you don't have to. So, StrainCentral pro tip, if you do, this probably will make your car smell better. But, or you can use the Hemper like spray to make it smell entirely better. So, the next two things we got are the Hemper Butterfinger Sticker is what I'm naming this because it looks a lot like a Butterfinger logo. Like, as we were shooting it, someone asked, is that like actually supposed to be crafted after the Butterfinger logo? He was like, no, but it kind of looks like it, doesn't it? So the Zoomies Butterfinger logo, because these also look like Zoomy stickers, bringing it back to the fucking 2000s, and another IVXX Hemper sticker to remind you what we're actually dealing with here. We've been building the anticipation. We've been telling stories that you probably didn't want to hear. Some of you did. Most of you are probably like, show us the glass. Why did you not open the glass first? Those people probably just found the spot in the timeline that I actually have the glass unboxed and just scrubbed to that. It's hilarious to look at analytics sometimes and see that some people, for some reason, actually I know exactly why, they basically watch my videos like this. Start the video, watch me take my first hit, scrub through until they find me hit the bong again, watch that, and end there. There is literally probably 5% of my audience that watches my content like that. And honestly, it kind of impresses me. They're like, that's people out there just looking for some good old weed porn. They're like, give me the hits, I'm out. They're almost like, just give me one more of those bong rib shots. Come on, man. I know you have them. I also want to say, for the sake of many things, safety as well as audio, I love this new wrapping that's not bubble wrap, because like the difference between making that noise for an entire unboxing and then like this like really subtle whatever the fuck this is, genius. Also probably actually money saving. Alright, so the Pineapple V2 rig is finally among us. So I'm so stoked on this thing. There's so many upgrades compared to the actual first version. Starting with, the Pineapple is not only just a splash guard, it's also a part of the function. So this is actually a inverted shower head. I believe it has 10 slits of diffusion, and compared to the 4 slits in the Pancake, basically means it's twice as actually, I would say twice as smooth. I don't know if I can make that claim, but personally, I'd say it's twice as smooth. So not only do we get more detail, this doesn't look like a fucking lemon. You can tell this thing is a pineapple, and that's my absolute favorite part about it. Whereas this one, like I said, could be a pineapple, could be a lemon. The leaves are far more detailed on the actual pineapple here. Breaking down the differences. I really like this one because it was still a pretty thick can when it came to stacking hits. These pieces are about an inch difference. I think this is a 5-inch and this is a 6-inch. So this actually did have a pretty effective amount of room to stack smoke in, but it was a square can, so it was somewhat limiting, as this is not a fucking beaker tube. So what they did, and what we did, is actually took and made it a bigger ball, a ball rig. And what that allows is not only for there to actually be more art in the middle, but for it to actually stack more outward. There's more space for it to stack and then it can force flavor up top with a super small, thin, small bore mouthpiece to give you the tastiest dabs, the tastiest hits. And I feel like people say that and don't know what they're talking about nowadays. They're like, oh, I want a thin mouthpiece, but they have no clue why. Why you want a thin mouthpiece on oil rigs is specifically because terpenes stick to glass. So the things that not only give you flavor but also give you effect can literally stick to your glass. So the less surface area that you provide them to stick, the oil and stuff, the excess to stick, is essentially the more the terpenes and the flavor, everything, even effect technically, that you will be getting from the piece. So the reason for this is because I wanted it to be universal. This small actual mouthpiece is something that any dabber is going to request. It's going to be your go-to on most pieces. Look at any functional heady rig. Almost all of them have really thin mouthpieces. And then when it comes to actual bore of the mouthpiece up here, it's also pretty small up on the very top. But I don't like the nipple mouthpieces, so flared out, still thin. This is going to force some great flavor. So specifically for dabbing, that's what it's good for. That being said, some rigs that are made for dabbing aren't very good for flour because you can't stack hits, so it's this just unenjoyably fucking awful, like milky, yellow, lung-destroying, awful tasting garbage. This, like we were talking about earlier, the can size gives it a really good amount of a really good amount of space to actually stack hits, and you can use it universally. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a little combo out of this thing, but I get some water in it, so 1 second. All right, guys, so we're going to break down 2 glass terms right now. I'm busting out all kinds of random StrainCentral knowledge here. So we're going to bust out 2 glass terms that I'm going to teach you. And you've probably heard people use them, might have zero fucking clue what they mean. Draw is the first one, and chug. So let's start with draw. Draw basically just means restriction. Like the more draw a piece actually has, the harder it is to hit. It's going to have more it's going to take more lung power to clear. It's going to take more to hit. It's going to be slightly harder to like suck through, to pull through. The less draw a piece has, the less restriction it has, the more airflow it has. So if a piece is like super easy to like hit, super easy to pull through, it doesn't have that much draw. And then chug is not something that is easy to like specifically scientifically actually break down, as that's more something the glass world has kind of just negated. So with chug, I guess we'll describe it as the level of diffusion violence. Meaning if something's diffusing super violently, if there's a lot of diffusion, if these just bubbles just chugging everywhere, then it has a lot of chug. Also, it has a very specific noise if a piece is chugging. If a piece doesn't have chug, it's basically just going to be super basic diffusion. You got like one bubble coming through, it's not stirring the water, and it's not causing a lot of like actual diffusion. So I explained that mostly just to say this about this piece. I have not yet, and I say this with bias obviously because this is my piece, I have not yet seen Hemper nail the chug and the draw on a piece like this yet, and they fucking killed it. Just listen to this thing hit. It purrs, and it's so perfectly easy to pull through that I feel like I could breathe this thing. Like, I almost didn't think that through, and on the exhale actually exhaled, so I would have had a really wet phone. I'm fucking really rambly today, as you guys can tell. That first dab was of some of this purple pineapple. Alrighty guys, I definitely hope you guys enjoyed this unboxing. This was a really long unboxing. I think actually probably my longest unboxing yet. Does that mean I'm a narcissist if it took me the absolute longest to unbox my own box? I think it's mostly just like I'm actually ready to start creating content again. I've been bitten with the YouTube bug for what feels like the first time in like 6 months. I feel like with the podcast and everything, I was almost maintaining a pretty consistent like 1 a week, maybe 1 every 2 weeks schedule. And my creative mind, it gets anxious when it's creating that slow. So I gotta get some fucking content out there. I felt like a super long unboxing explaining why this was exactly curated how it was and picked out how it was pretty much the perfect place to start. And if you guys are somehow still here, like fucking 45 and 50 minutes in, I absolutely love you guys. I'm impressed. That's what I should probably say first. And this is a plug that I'm probably going to end up making at the beginning of the video because I forgot to do it until right now. But these are available until the end of this month. So if you pick up yours right now, you're probably not going to get it before 420. Realistically, they're a little more than 10 days out when it comes to shipping most of the time. So you're a little bit late on actually getting it for 420. But I will say this, if you get it right now, you'll probably get it like around 425, 430 if you're watching this when I uploaded it. And all the fucking 420 deals you picked up from like the dispensaries and your dealers and shit, you'll be able to use on this if you didn't smoke all of it on 420. So I'm going to take these dabs. Cheers, guys. And let's get it, I guess. Good old combo. And just like that, StrainCentral was killed on camera. Jesus. That, my friends, is how you do a combo. So, like I said, these will be available on hemper.co until the end of the month. So, use the actual, let's see, we gotta get a hashtag for these. Because I, especially on Instagram, want to see you guys using these bad boys. So I guess we'll choose hashtag SCHemperPineappleFam. That's such a long hashtag. Someone think of a better hashtag, like in the comments, because that's terrible. All right. Well, I'm high after that, so I think there's probably a burp, a little burp of smoke, just little clouds, blowing some late clouds there. Saving some for later. Alright, guys. I love every single one of you. Please have yourself a wonderful day. If you're going through anything rough, make sure to keep on pushing forward and deal with those problems head on. Don't hide from them. Don't keep smoking them away because they're something you gotta face, something you gotta overcome. So stay positive. Stay medicated. Peace.